evening. We would like to call the regular meeting of August 18th board meeting to order. For those who are able, if you could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silent prayer, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer, please. Thank you. The first item is the approval of the agenda, and we would like to add, if we could, a DTE community lighting for one pole on Textile Road near the park. If it's okay with board members to add that to the board agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
There's no objections. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
So move, Peterson.
We have a motion and support. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a consent agenda, which are minutes of the July 21st regular meeting, statements and checks, and the treasurer's report for June. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Motion
Support.
Rowe, support Eldridge. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It was also requested that we move public comments up after the attorney's report, if everyone is okay with doing that.
I concur.
All right. Mr. Winters? I'm sure you have an update.
Can everybody hear me in the back? Two head nods, okay. I want to take a moment, Elise, and thank all of you who are here tonight, as well as the phone calls and messages that have come to our township officials, our trustees, that have in turn been relayed to me also in regards to what I would refer to as probably the most devastating decision that a university of the stature of U of M could make in regards to their decision to locate two high-performance computational centers, data centers, on 144 acres of property located at the Bridge Textile Road. And before I get into that decision, please keep in mind that it was made a little more than this time last week. It was Tuesday afternoon. And in keeping with the behavior that they've established and the pattern of deceit that has gone on during the last 18, 20 months, this announcement came to the township during a meeting with the full-time officials, not by U of M. It came to us by an online newspaper who called to try to ascertain what was our reaction. Did not even have the courtesy to pick up the phone and tell us what was going to, what decision they had made. And so that's par for the course. They didn't call us when they made their second purchase of property either. But all that aside, I think I mentioned to a few people even today that growing up, your parents always tell you, don't tell a lie, because if you tell a lie, you got to tell 20 more to make up for the first lie. That was true then, and it's true today, even inside our hallowed halls of higher learning and our government. And when I say how this whole saga began, it began with a lie, and it continues through today. So a fair question could be, okay, why do you say that it began with a lie? It was in the winter, beginning of the winter of 2024, when the University of Michigan filed an application with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation seeking what amounts to a $100 million corporate welfare check to build these data centers. Now keep in mind, in 2024, we were going through the beginnings, and you're still seeing it play out today, where people in this county, especially in this township, the city, Eastern Washtenaw County, have had their Medicaid benefits eliminated, have had their nutritional benefits eliminated, are struggling to buy groceries. Everybody knows what's going on at the gas pumps, trying to find shelter. We've seen homeless encampments around the county grow somewhat exponentially because of what's happening. It's dire straits for a lot of people. But against that backdrop, you have the University of Michigan, the third wealthiest university in the United States, has a $21 billion endowment, has a budget around $15 million a year. You had them go up to Lansing, not with the blessing of the township. They went to Lansing and they asked MEDC, not brother, can you spare a dime? It was brothers and sisters, can you spare $100 million? And the reason why they got that request before the MEDC board was because they obtained what they call a letter of support from an economic development office, always also known as Ann Arbor Spark. Ann Arbor Spark, who's headquartered right down in the middle of Ann Arbor, issued a letter saying to MEDC, we support this idea of U of M asking for this $100 million to build these two data centers. One was for U of M, very small one in comparison to Los Alamos. Now, they could have came to the township board and said, what do you think about this project? But I think they probably realized what the answer was going to be. And so they went in the back door, and that's where the first lie began. Because in that application, they said they were going to acquire 20 acres on the corner of Textile Bridge Road. And they were going to build 2 office buildings, more or less, 20 jobs a year for 10 years. They were going to have a new substation built. DTE claimed that 2/3 would go for these 2 data centers, 1/3 for the general public. So what happened next? Well, fast forward to June of 2025, the Board of Regents authorized the acquisition of an additional 124 acres, right next to the only access road there is into the township's South Hydro Park. Township has a North Hydro Park and South Hydro Park. It has a lot of passive recreation. People fish there on the docks, a lot of trails people walk through. There's the only pathway into the South Hydro Park is off of Textile Road, and that road is now on one side, the 20 acres of property, the other side is 124 acres. And if you haven't been out to the area for a while, go down to the Huron River. The news coverage that covered the breaking news last week had some just absolutely beautiful film of what that property looks like from the Huron Riverside if you're standing down there at South Hydro Park. The canopy of trees that exists there is probably the most dense of any tree canopies in this township. And so that is the location that the U of M, after first telling MEDC, we'll take $100 million for this 20-acre parcel, it then mushroomed into 144 acres. And when that came to the township's attention, we objected strongly to this. This is the Huron River. This is a very ecologically sensitive property. And this is one that you would not take virgin land and just destroy. But yet they said they would reconsider, look at their different options. And during that year and a half, there was not one meeting held with this township board with U of M's representatives. They continued to tell additional lies. I think they even told their board of regents that they were meeting with the township. Not true. Not true. There was one 15, maybe 10-minute Zoom call the week of Thanksgiving in 2025 where we asked them for an update. Chris Cope said, we thought you wanted an update. We thought you were going to give us an update. I said, well, we don't have no control over the situation. And so the meeting ended pretty much the way it began, and with the comment being added, the university moves at a slow pace, so quote unquote, get used to it. Okay? That's how the meeting ended. And that's the only interaction we've had. One meeting in July 25, a 15-minute meeting in November. So contrary to all the public statements they continue to tell, that they meet with us, talk with us, absolutely 1,000% untrue. So the lies continue. And so what's going on here right now? So where do we stand at the moment right now? Okay, during that last year and a half, this township board did its own investigation, its own due diligence, passed resolutions, appealed to our U.S. senators, our congresswoman, the governor's office, the Michigan legislature, our state senators. We appealed to everybody to please take a stand, tell us your position in regards to Los Alamos National Laboratory and U of M building these data centers, which in the words of U of M's own vice president, they have quite a few of them, this is Vice President Kolb, he's the one who said, these computers are going to be the biggest, the baddest, and the fastest computers in the world. Now think about that for a second. Of all the data centers that are being built throughout the country, and there are hundreds of them, this location here in Ypsilanti Township is going to house the biggest, the baddest, and the fastest computers in the world. And it's also going to require the construction of a 110 megawatt substation. I think we got a picture of what a 110 megawatt substation looks like up there. Okay, there you go. That's what a 110 megawatt substation looks like, and it's going to be pretty close to what's going to be built if they have their way on the corner of Bridge and Textile Road. Now, DTE, not to be outdone in terms of telling untruths, they have a meeting with us and they try to convince us this is a good thing, because if this comes into fruition, your rates are going to go down. Okay? Your rates are going to go down. In fact, Supervisor Stumbo, you should go out there and tell your residents the rates are going to go down. Fortunately, Brenda did not drink that Kool-Aid either. And as we pointed out to them, rates are going up right now. Without data centers, rates are going up. And like we said before, I may have been born at night, but not last night. And so we all know the truth here, what's going on here. But that's what they want to build on the 20-acre property on Bridge and Textile Road. So we now move over to, okay, the actual decision announced by U of M to build these data centers. Now make no mistake about it. The university president wants to pretend like Los Alamos is not a high-value target. Nothing could be further from the truth or reality. The federal government itself has 10 criterion that they rely upon to determine what constitutes a high-value target. And there's 10 criteria. You don't have to meet all 10, but in the case of Los Alamos, they check box all 10. Their national security, it's restricted entry. U of M has even said they won't be allowed to go inside to see what's going on. They are going to be developing, they had the brains of the Los Alamos facility in New Mexico. And you have U of M's response saying, well, we're not going to store any nuclear material there. Thank you. We're not going to assemble any nuclear bombs there. Okay, thank you. But this is where the brains of the operation lies, with that facility. They're going to be doing millions to billions of what they refer to as computational modeling. And they're also going to be doing research for what they refer to as the next generation of plutonium pits. Plutonium pits is what triggers or activates a nuclear missile. All this research is going to be done in a facility that's near schools, parks, apartment complexes, churches, residential properties, right here. Now, there's no protection. You're seeing what's happening play out right now in the Mideast. We were told back in February, this war is going to be over here pretty soon. It's not going to end. You've seen data centers attacked in the Mideast. Amazon lost 2 or 3. Meta lost a data center. Those are commercial data centers. What is a more valuable target than Los Alamos, who, as you know, is the one responsible for the manufacture of the atom bomb? They want to locate it right here on Textile Road, 2-lane highways going Textile and Bridge Road, right near the Yucca wastewater treatment facility, right near the Yucca water storage tanks on Bridge Road, right near the Willerin Airport, right near Metro Airport, but we'll locate it over here. There's no, and the president goes, well, there's no evidence that this is an imminent threat. Well, I think all of you still are able to do your own research. There's been over 40 cyber attacks during the last 4 to 5 weeks on wastewater facilities in Minnesota, in Michigan, I think even in Georgia. But the president said, it's Minnesota's fault. He blamed it on the governor there in Minnesota. So there's a denial of what's happening at the federal level. U of M, who used to be, I think in all of our eyes, an institution that had values, a moral compass, which could not be compromised for its integrity, we watched them sell their soul by virtue of eliminating, at the insistence of the Trump administration, they eliminated their DEI program. They abandoned what they called the PhD project, which was a project that was going to allow or encourage and help facilitate minorities who are going to major in business to get a PhD. They eliminated that, and they proudly declared that they're now considered to be aligned with the Department of War, and they've aligned themselves with Hillsdale College, as opposed to MIT, Harvard, Georgetown, other prestigious universities. This is who they are now. They have lost their moral compass along the way. And it's a very, very sad, I think, day for us to say this, because all of us have grown up in the shadows of these universities, of the University of Michigan here, and we all know very familiar. And the students, by the way, and the faculty, we continue to hear from them on a regular basis with their support, their belief that U of M is totally wrong in this issue. And fortunately, many of them have told us also that they fear retribution, they fear being thrown out of the university if they speak up and express their opinions. In any event, we now reached last week, and the decision is made to locate these facilities at the corner of Bridge and Textile Road. Now, keep in mind also that a month or so ago, again, just prior to this announcement, U of M announced that they were going to purchase Concordia University, also located on the banks of the Huron River, and ironically consists of the same amount of acreage as the one in the corner of Bridge and Textile Road. And so you have a professor, Steve Cecchio, who is leading this project right now. He was asked back in April as to why did you not consider building these facilities in Ann Arbor? And this is a quote that I've kept in front of me. It says that U of M has said it picked Ypsilanti Township rather than Ann Arbor for infrastructure reasons. Stephen Cecchio, project lead and U of M engineering professor, said in an interview with the in-house communications website that the university wanted to build in Ann Arbor, but the township emerged as a better option because it offers, quote, the required power, water, and zoning. Now stop right there. All of us already have learned U of M is exempt from zoning, okay? So zoning doesn't matter. They can plant their flag anywhere they want to in this state because the Michigan Constitution allows them to do so. They don't have to comply with any zoning ordinances. They have no site plan review. They don't go before the Planning Commission. They don't come before the Township Board. So if you eliminate zoning, because it doesn't apply in Ann Arbor any more than it applies over here, what he's really saying, because we have required power and water. Have you driven down to downtown Ann Arbor lately? You can't get around Ann Arbor because of all the construction going on downtown Ann Arbor. They're building as vertical as much as they possibly can. They have plenty of power and they have plenty of water. We also have on record where the Ann Arbor Planning Commissioner, I believe it was the chairperson, was quoted as saying that the Ann Arbor Planning Commission would never allow a smokestack facility or a data center to be located in Ann Arbor, okay? So we know it wasn't the zoning. We know it's not the money. They just spent $60 million for Concordia. We know they're the third wealthiest university in the United States. They spent $12 million on a law firm just to tell us what everybody else already knew, that the football coach had crossed the line with his behavior, okay? We knew that, right? But they spent $12 million at $890 an hour for their attorney to do this report to say, yeah, this was a bad thing that he did. They spent another $1 million or close to it on investigating one of their own regents, Jordan Acker, who crossed the line with his misogynistic and sexist comments. And even if they did this report and he had to finally come clean and say, well, I first denied it, but I said it. Even after he spent $1 million, he still didn't resign from the board. He's still on the board. So they got plenty of money over there. So the question is right now, okay, so if it wasn't because of power or water, it wasn't because of money or anything, why did they pick Bridge and Textile Road? And I can say this unequivocally. I'll take off my jacket. I'm getting angry. Okay. Get a little bit irritated, okay? So what was the real reason why they picked this location, okay? And Paul Brown understands it. He's a regent up for election. This board understands it. The reason why they picked Bridge and Textile Road, this is a classic example, a textbook example of what environmental racism looks like, okay? That is the reason that they pick this site. And they know that. And they know in their hearts they know that. So what they've done is they have continued to make decisions, and they want to go into communities that historically has had this more black and brown, poorer, historically burdened by environmental inequities than the affluent community from which the project originates. Now, you can go to your U.S. Census right now, you can find this out. Ypsilanti Township's population is approximately 31% black, 52% white, Hispanic 7.3%. Ann Arbor, 6.6 black population, almost 70% white, 5.5% Hispanic. It's not a mystery right now that how diverse our population is as compared to Ann Arbor, but that's not the only thing you should look at here. The median income is like $32,000 in the township, or the county-wide is over $50,000. We have a much higher poverty rate. We also have less access to health care than most other parts of Washtenaw County. Less opportunities to actually get educational opportunities in eastern Washtenaw County. We right now have in the black community in our township, they have a lower life expectancy of anywhere from 12 to 17 years. That's a fact. So this is what environmental racism looks like up here when you make a decision based upon the fact that Washtenaw County continues to be divided by race and place. It has been that way, and it basically right now, once again, shows how a university with the power and reputation that it has can basically select a community with Ypsi Township, like Ypsi Township, with less political and economic power, and deem that to be an acceptable place to put this intensive land use as opposed to putting it in Ann Arbor. They did have an alternative to this site. It's called the City of Ann Arbor, okay? If this was so important, this project is so important to the University of Michigan and Los Alamos, who they claim have had a partnership for many years, if it was that important to them, they could have located this facility, and still can, within the city limits or on the campus of the University of Michigan. They won't do that because they know that the people in Ann Arbor right now would push back, and as they would, and as they should, just like we are going to do as well. So at this point in time, I also want to point out that, it's not lost upon any of us right now. We did a FOIA request. I asked for a number of documents, environmental studies, and land use analysis, what your water and power needs are going to be. And I got a response from their FOIA officer. Now keep in mind, I have a very small law firm, okay? Yeah, very small law firm. The U of M has legions of CPAs, attorneys, outside legal counsel, etc. I write one FOIA request asking for these documents in a very identifiable format, and they write back saying, we just don't have the ability to answer these questions. Now keep in mind, you're building the biggest, baddest, and fastest computers in the world, but you can't answer a small township attorney's FOIA request. Well, some of those FOIA requests ask for environmental studies, it asks for their land use analysis, things that are very sensitive. And I think right now there's a reason why they did not answer those, and we'll get into that at some point in time, no doubt. But I can't help but be reminded right now that this decision of environmental racism on their part is somewhat consistent with how they also treated the Native Americans. Okay? Now, many of you may not know that back in 1817, the University of Michigan received by way of a treaty almost 2,000 acres as part of this treaty of Fort Meigs, and it involved the Anishinaabe Indian Nation. And Section 16 of that treaty said that the U of M, in exchange for receiving these near 2,000 acres, they were going to provide education for Native children. They sold the property, kept all the money, and never, ever lived up to that promise in that treaty. And it wasn't until 1970, when a U of M student challenged the university, that they finally had to have a reckoning in regards to that history involving indigenous dispossession, and they finally established a land, culture, memory, and repair project. Their own historical records acknowledge that its origins and financial foundation are intertwined with indigenous land acquired under a treaty that contemplated educating Native children. The university benefited from the land, but for generations did not deliver the educational benefit contemplated by that agreement. Now, the point I'm making is that when people tell you who they are, and they act a certain way, and they continue to do so over a period of time, going back to that treaty in 1860, to their decision made in 2026. When people tell you certain things, believe them, okay? Believe them, because there is nothing that will come, you'll never see a more clear example of environmental racism reflected in a decision than what you've seen here in MC Township. Now, what's going to happen on this property if they have their way? Well, we know what's going to happen. They're going to destroy the environment. The natural environment would be destroyed. That tree canopy is all going to be destroyed. The natural habitat will be destroyed. The wildlife that right now roam there freely will be gone. We got a lot of pictures of American bald eagles. They have nests on that property. All that's going to be at risk. And that's why the township right now has also said that we will do whatever it takes to prevent U of M from building these data centers on that property. And we continue. And we continue to look for the best and the brightest people to assist us, and we're getting phone calls every day, and we're doing our triage and trying to make sure we make the right recommendation to the Township Board, because as some of you may recall, it wasn't that long ago at the Mackinac Policy Conference up here on Mackinac Island that there was this big panel of very important people there. You had former Governor Jennifer Granholm sitting up there. You had John Rakolta, who is the chairman of the Walbridge Aldinger, who's building the Saline Township data center. In regards to what they were talking about, nobody rebuked them but this township board, because during that panel conference, John Rakolta Jr. said Michigan should build 100 data centers, and they should open the Great Lakes and use the Great Lakes water to cool these data centers. That's on the record. That's what he said. And he said by any means necessary. So this is what you're dealing with right now. You have a state that has basically lost its moral compass by allowing a 6% sales and use tax exemption for these data centers, saving them billions of dollars. And none of us can forget that picture we had up here for a long time of the groundbreaking in Saline Township, where you had the American version of what oligarchy looks like. You had some of the 10 richest billionaires. If you're a millionaire You're not rich anymore in that specific club. That you got to be a billionaire to be in that club. And they were there in Saline, all smiling and waving, breaking ground, because they were taking away billions of dollars in tax benefits with them. These are the richest people in the world. What has happened to this state? Now, I am going to put out a challenge here also. Now, later on, keep in mind, Saline Township's data center is under construction, okay? It's being built as we sit here. And so, right now, I did see where U.S. Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed showed up there protesting the construction of the data center, okay? But my challenge is this. It's one thing to protest against a data center that's under construction. And it's another thing to let us know right here, right now, where do you stand on Los Alamos and U of M coming to Textile Bridge Road. There has not been one shovel in the ground yet, okay? They've not had a groundbreaking ceremony. So I would call upon Democratic candidate Jocelyn Benson. Where do you stand? Where do you stand? We have a right to know as a township. People have a right to know in this state. Where do you stand on coming onto Bridge Textile Road in this issue of U of M and Los Alamos putting this township in harm's way? We also need to have Abdul Sayed come over here. You stood with some people in Saline Township. Stand with us. Let us know where you stand. Do you support what's going on by U of M and Los Alamos? Same for candidate John James for governor and Mike Rogers. We need to know before it's too late. Protesting after the fact, the toothpaste is out of the tube. We need to know right here, right now, where do you stand? And the same can be said for all the candidates for a Board of Regents. We have Paul Brown, Amira Makled, Lena Epstein, Michael Shostak, Andrew Shedderon, Kyle Moss, all running for U of M Regents. We need to know exactly. We do know where Paul Brown stands, as he told us, it's environmental racism. We need to know where it stands. So at this point in time, I guess you ask yourself, where do you go from here? Well, contrary to what some people in local government would have us do, we're not going to bend the knee. We're not going to get down and grovel. We're not going to listen to State Senator Jeff Irwin, who says, well, I'm sure you could get them to build you a boardwalk around the perimeter of these data centers. And we're not going to follow the recommendation of Justin Hodge, who says, it's better for you to negotiate before you make U of M really mad at you. And then what are you going to do? Buy more property? So that's kind of a foolish argument for us. But interesting about Justin Hodge is that when it came time to vote on this resolution to stand with us, he and two other county commissioners said, well, we can't vote on this issue. We have a conflict. Well, what's your conflict? Because unless you have a financial benefit or financial loss, you can't choose to not vote. He said, well, I'm a professor at U of M. Well, that's not a basis for recusal, but he did. And then after the announcement was made, some of you may have seen him on TV or in Facebook saying how opposed he was to what U of M was doing. I think what changed was the constituents from this audience that weighed in and let him know that right now where you stood, and it may have affected his position. So what I would say to the Board of Regents right now, you've not gone so far that you cannot stop. You can still turn this around. And as I said before, right now, this is still somewhat of a moment in time that reminds you of the novel by Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities. And Dickens opens that novel with the sentence, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was a season of light. It was a season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. So I would say to the Board of Regents, those who are running, and those who are sitting on the board right now, you still have an opportunity to do the right thing. You're at a crossroads. Township is not going to back down. We will leave no stone unturned in making sure that you do not destroy our home values, our people's way of life, what they've worked for, their personal safety, by locating a nuclear research laboratory right in the midst of Ypsilanti Township. You can still do the right thing. You can still do the right thing and not destroy the woodlands, destroy the Huron River, destroy the environment, the way of life for over hundreds of years. At the same time, we also believe that, I said back in January that, I think we're right on this, I think it's going to show right now there's also native indigenous burial ground on that property. If that's the case, you can't build on that property.
That's right.
You can't build on that property. And we'll do what we have to do to make sure that you don't, if there's any, what we believe to be the evidence that we've seen so far. Now, if you're going to do the right thing, Board of Regents, take a ride down the Huron River. Come out here and walk around where the fishing docks are. Visit Ford Lake. See all the parks that benefit from the Huron River. We know that we are the socio-economically outliers in Washtenaw County, and we recognize that we have limited resources, lower incomes, almost no generational wealth, and that we are home to the largest populations of brown and black people and families within our county. In your societal class ratings, we are probably middle class, working class, lower class in some of your minds. But we have historically, and we continue to face the impact of classism and racism, and because of personal prejudices, systemic policies, societal norms, and discrimination in this county, our residents have always had to stand up to be seen and be heard. We are struggling right now with making sure that people do not sell their homes. We get phone calls, I don't, the supervisor and people on this board, they get phone calls all the time as to whether or not should we sell our property. Our home value is going to go down. And what do you tell people when they do their research as well and know how this is going to impact their lives? Is there anybody on the Board of Regents, is there anybody running for the Board of Regents that wants to have their family live next to these data centers, wants to raise their children in the shadows of the data centers? I think that answer would be a resounding no. So we don't have all the lobbyists that you do in Lansing. We don't have the financial wherewithal to spend $1,000 an hour for all the most expensive, exclusive law firms located from Chicago to California to New York. But we will stand up and fight. We will protect the People's River. We will protect our environment. We will fight to protect our businesses and homes. We will fight to protect the 144 acres from being developed by U of M in Los Alamos, along with a 110 megawatt electrical power substation, which produces enough electricity to power 80,000 homes, and by itself equals more electricity than what is currently being used by the rest of the township combined. We will continue to do everything possible to stop the building of these data centers at Textile Bridge Roads, and just for one time, please do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winters. At this time, the board members will comment afterwards, or do you want to make a quick comment afterwards? Okay. Great summary of where we are at right now. If the people would like to speak, we have microphones. You have 3 minutes and address your comments to the board. Julianne, are you up first?
All passed. May I address the,
Just raise, yeah, we'll bring you well, I guess we can hear them from here.
number 2,
Okay.
I can
Wait a
stand
minute.
at the podium.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you. For those that don't know me, my name is Amir Macklett. I'm an attorney. I'm from Dearborn, Michigan. I'm also a candidate for the University of Michigan Board of Regents. And so I was invited here today by members of the Township Board, and I'm really encouraged by the report that your Township attorney has given, because I stand in solidarity with this township. I'm here to support it. And so what I heard from our very able-bodied township attorney, and I've worked across the table from Council Winters before, we've actually litigated a case before together, is that sometimes we got to take the fight out of the boardroom from a township and into the courtroom. And so I would support this township's effort to block this data center as a member of the Board of Regents. I think that it's important that communities recognize that they should know what the impact of these developments are going to be, not when the bulldozers arrive, but much in advance. We need to know what the community impact is going to be, whether it comes from environmental impact, economic impact, and every type of impact that it's going to have on the communities where these developments are happening. And so it's shame on a public university that's giving corporate welfare to a large military industrial complex to the tune of nearly $1 billion that's going to go to a private entity. That's not what our University of Michigan represents, and that's not what the people of the state of Michigan are looking for. And so when I come to communities like this and I listen to what the pulse of this community is saying, we need to have our voices raised so loud that it reverberates in Lansing, that where people in our state government recognize that this community shouldn't be left behind because of what our economic status or our racial makeup is. And that's exactly what we bring up when we talk about environmental racism. This is a problem, and we must stand together and push back and make sure that our institutions, our public institutions, listens to the community that it's there and designed to serve. And so I stand in solidarity with the township. I stand in solidarity with your township attorney and the board of trustees and the township supervisor. And my name is Amir Macklett. I'm running for the University Board of Michigan to help fight back, because that's what I've done my whole career. As a civil rights attorney, we're here to push back against large institutions. And I'm here and to show and to say that I do oppose this development, and I would support this cause to end this data center. Thank you.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you. Lori, are you going first?
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm a member of this community too, just like most of us here. I was passing out the phone number of Paul Brown. He's on the U of M Regent Board. And if anybody doesn't have his number, he's looking forward to receiving people's thoughts, concerns, and whatever questions, if you have questions. And he's on our side. He's the only one on the board that is on our side so far, but he's working on other board members. There's going to be a new president there too soon, by the way. And November 30th, there'll be a new president at U of M. So that's in our favor a little bit too. I think if we fight hard enough, loud enough, we can win. We have to win. We have no choice. This is our families are here, you know? We can't give up on that. And if anybody doesn't have one of these, please, I'll just meet people at the door when they leave.
We can hand them out as people are exiting if you want. Thank you,
Could you
Nancy.
just give the number for the record? Could you read the number into the record?
The phone numbers.
Oh, number two. Oh, yes, of course I will. The phone number to Paul Brown is 734-730-1077.
You want your text?
And we met with Regent Brown twice, and he really wants people to call him or text him with his concerns. He means it. I'm not sure if he realizes what's going to happen, but the thought that he really does mean it. He wants people to he wants to talk to the people. And he wants you to know, he wants you to share your opinions with him, your questions with him, and he will take it to the Board of Regents. So please do that. Thank you, Nancy. Next, Julianne.
Hi there, Andrea Pierce, over in Galt Village, Ipsy Township resident. I just want to say that we got to do everything we can to stop this thing. I've been here several times. The moratorium, it sounds wonderful. Thank you again. I want to remind people, though, that while we're talking about a nuclear data center over there, there's also the Nexus pipeline right by it, like a stone's throw, right there. We are already on the blast zone from that. Now, what happens when the nuclear, or either one of them blow up, right? Are we going to, how far is this going to go? There's going to be a big old plutonium pit here. I mean, seriously, we are in danger, right? We are in danger for our lives, for our families' lives, for those animals out there. I'm all the time talking about those animals, those sacred beings that are out there. We have to think about them. What are we doing to them? What are we doing to us? What are we allowing this school to do to us? Okay? I'm in the hell no, boo blue category. I think this is terrible that this university is doing this to a township of people who care, who look out for each other. We made it through COVID. Now we got to fight this university. I think it's sick and disgusting. And while we're talking about regents, thank you, Amir. I'm glad that you're here. I've seen you speak plenty of times, and you're on my side. You got my vote. But we have to also think about the other regents. Sarah Hubbard is actively a lobbyist who pushed and pushed and pushed in Lansing to get this data centers. She pushed legislation. She's one of them. And she's a regent. And that's probably why we only have one up there that's against this, right? Because she's been sitting there all this time putting her, we can get money. Yeah, we need to stop them. Okay, I think her turn's up in 29, but if we can find out, do what we got to do, talk to her, reach out to these people. They're supposed to be human. Let's get them, because if we sit back and don't, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. They got all this money that they're trying to push on out there. That $100 million that they were giving, that's our money. We can't get health care, but they can get free land. I can't get free land. I've been sitting on them tax sites all day long trying to get those lands, and I can't get none of them. But two of them can? And they got billions and billions and billions. Yeah, it's not fair and it's not right. So I'm in the when we fight, we win. So what are we going to do? Fight!
Thank you.
And
Andrea.
win. When we fight, we win. Oh, you got a mic. Thank you.
Lori? I'm sorry, next.
My name is Lindsay Passmore. I'm a resident of the township. I live in the club. We can't hear you. The mic up closer. I think it's on now. No.
Here, this one's working.
Yeah, that one works great.
This one's working. Okay. My name's Lindsay Passmore. I'm a resident of the township. I live in the Clubview, Fair Hills neighborhood. Never been to a township meeting before. I want to thank all of you for standing against this project. I have been so proud to be a U of M graduate, and I am livid about the way the U of M has behaved. I can hardly believe it. And you're right, they've lost, the university has lost its moral compass. And I feel like they've betrayed their legacy. They betrayed all of us who went there believing in what the U of M stands for. I really appreciate, Attorney Winters, how your report just specifically over and over again calls out the university. I love the signs about hail no, but there's no U of M logo on there. And if it wasn't for the U of M, Los Alamos would not be trying to be here in Ypsi Township. I want to know more about what possible legal recourse we might have, but I think one of our strongest strategies is we need to just shame the hell out of the university. I want us to be there on football Saturdays, and I am such a sincere fan of our football and basketball team, but I'm ready to be out there at games with our signs, with leaflets. I think the students at the law school and at the School of Natural Resources need to know about this. I think we need to get some of those brilliant young minds, because they are idealistic and they want to stand for what's right. Whatever we need to do to support your resolution about a moratorium on electrical infrastructure, let's go. And but I'm really interested in knowing what else we can do legally, since they seem to be exempt from all the rules. Thank you so much, though.
Thank you. Julianne?
Hello, everyone. Denise Kirchhoff. I just want to let everyone know a couple of things. I don't think a lot of people, I don't even know if the board is aware of this. Los Alamos actually appointed a board for the U of M data center in 2023 on their website. Their board overseeing the U of M data center, which nobody knew anything about, was appointed in 2023. Now, I think we should all take that in. Nobody here knew anything. The board didn't know anything. No, only the people at U of M knew. And I see a lot of people, and I hear them going, well, it's not that bad. There's going to be jobs. No, there's really not. I think people need to understand one thing. Since 2025, our energy bills have increased by $60 billion in the United States. The United States represents 37% of data centers worldwide. That was as of January 1st, 2024. It is 2026. One mid-sized data center uses 300,000 gallons of water a day. 300,000 gallons of water a day. Think about that. And you wonder why they're looking at the Great Lakes. And a lot of people are like, oh, wow, that information can't be right. You know what? Most of this information doesn't even come from the United States anymore because we can't really trust it. So people don't realize another thing. The world is watching us. They're not just watching, what's going on in their countries, but they're watching us because they're seeing more hyperscale centers being built here. Now, hyperscale centers in less than 1 year will use over 300 billion gallons of water. Can we think about that? 300 billion gallons of water. Everybody just sit with that for 5 seconds and think about 300 billion gallons of water. So what does that leave for us? And I think U of M needs to realize one thing. The one thing this community will not do is we will not go quietly into the night. That will never happen. We will be here day after day after day. If we have to do encampments, we will do it. Because when I, in my brain, calculate 300 billion gallons of water, what does that do to our Great Lakes? When we actually, what do we have? Like over 27% of the world's fresh water is right here. And we are about to let U of M and data centers destroy it. So I think we need to realize that that's going to be very serious. And eventually, if you look at the map, everybody will live less than 150 miles away from a data center in the state of Michigan. Do we really want that?
Thank you, Denise. Next.
Number 6. Who has number 6?
Hi, I'm Gary Seelock. I'm in this.
number 7 while we will get ready?
Fine. I've been in this community all my life.
There we go. There we go. That's what did it. The magic words.
All right.
It works now. Go for it.
Anyway, I want to thank Doug for all your support with this, all the things you've dug up, and sounds good, but we need to fight more. I was hoping just with the Eagles out there, we could get something on the federal level maybe. I don't know. That just, I'm hoping, you know, DNR or somebody. But I'm going to support whatever we got to do get it gone. I just want to thank you guys, thank everybody here, and let's get it done. Get them out of here.
Thank you.
Number 7.
Number 7?
8. I have 8.
You have 8? All right.
Hi, my name's Emily. I'm an Ypsilanti resident, and I'm not really a public speaker, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who can stand up against this and can put it into words way better than I can. And I have so many concerns about the electricity use, the water use, the pollution, the location, just not that it should be built somewhere else. I don't think it should be built at all because thank you. It would be bad enough if it was a regular data center, but it's even worse that it's going to be used for nuclear weapons research. And I just think it's horrible what U of M is doing, just steamrolling over Ypsilanti. And yeah, we just, like everyone else has said, we have to fight. I don't know how exactly we're going to be able to beat them, but we have to try. And thank you so much to everybody out here who has been standing up and fighting. I don't really know what else to say, but thank you.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Number 9.
Number 9?
Okay. I know too. Okay.
Hi, my name's Regina Cudley. I live in Ypsilanti Township, and I've been kind of involved in this issue for a long time. I went to the very first U of M informational session in September of 2025, and it was 8 miles northwest of the township, and it was at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which was just a really lovely drive at that time of day onto Plymouth Road and North Campus. No bus, there isn't bus service in that, an easy way to take a bus from here to there. And, there was a few people there, and we walked in, and they had, some refreshments, and they had people standing around by poster boards, showing each aspect of the data center. And I asked each and every person standing by a poster board, would you live near a data center? And they all said no, except for one lady who said she would if the berm was high enough. And there was a gentleman, I think he was he was an engineer, like an engineer's engineer, and he said he would. And I thought he'd probably live in one. So anyway, so then went to the second one, right over here at the ballroom at the Hotel Marriott. Exact same situation. Except I got a lot more information because I spent a lot of time with the fella from Los Alamos. And one thing that he revealed is that what makes Michigan such an attractive scene for the data center is that a lot of people that might want to recruit in that don't want to live out there anymore in New Mexico. The weather's bad, there's fires, it's just not like a really nice place to live, I guess. They'd like to live here in Michigan. Because we have water, we have trees, we have, look at, we even had the right wildlife, that kind of stuff. And he also told me that they were going to focus on weapon delivery with drones. So that...
Can you put the microphone up to your
I'm sorry. Weapon delivery with drones. And if any of you have been watching the news, you've seen what drones can do. But what do drones need? They need the brains, the technology to guide their navigation systems, their delivery systems, and don't forget the reconnaissance systems and the surveillance systems. So that is what that Los Alamos data center is going to do.
Thank you, Regina.
Oh, can I just add one more thing along that line? They sent a bunch of material, and one thing they said about this site is that it's very attractive because this site is very attractive because it has developmental flexibility and long-term capacity.
Thank you,
And so
Regina.
you think about what they could be planning.
Thank you.
Not very
Thank you
far
for
down the
attending
road.
every meeting.
Thank you.
Julianne?
Number 11. Julian.
There it is.
Bruce Williamson, and I live in the township, and I'm not used to talking to crowds of people, so bear with me. Two things to say. The first is that in high school, I had a science teacher, and first day of the class, the very first thing he said is, we have, and I didn't remember the number, but it's 27% of the fresh water in the world, and somebody's going to come after it. And it's going to be up to your generation to stop it. I never thought that we'd have to defend it against an internal foe, but the other thing is, I've lived here since 1993. I've seen a lot of things happen. I've seen a lot of tough times, the GM plants closing, the ramifications of that, and I've seen this community bounce back. And I think one of our strongest assets is our diversity and the way we look at things from different angles, and we can, if we work together, looking at all these different angles, I think we'll succeed. That's it.
Thank you.
Number 12.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Juliette Heinley. I am a township resident since 2018, and thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for being in opposition to this terrible thing. And I just want to ask the room, sorry, I get so nervous when I speak in front of people.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I just want to ask everybody in the room, who is here because somebody else in their family can't be here, or one of their friends is working, or like their friends are, taking care of their kids, right? Like, we're all here to represent other people who aren't in this room with us right now. And so I just want to remind us all that there are even more of us in opposition than are in this room right now. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Number 13.
I'd like to say I see Mayor-elect Yusuf Rabi has joined.
Yeah, that's what worked for you.
There. Okay.
Hi, can you hear me now? No. Lori, can we, sorry.
Once you grab it, you can't touch the button.
No, and it's not even that, it's just being, that one's on.
How about this time? We good?
All right. So my name is Jessica Kruger. I live in Ypsilanti Township. I've been a resident here since shortly in the middle of COVID, I think. And we had someone earlier who gave a really amazing speech about water and the amount of water that will be consumed and is already being consumed by these types of computational facilities, data centers, however you want to term them. But I want you to think about this from a different angle for a second, because we are entering what is going to be, and in some places already is, a global water crisis. So many refugees are fleeing because of water shortages or because of conflict over water or impure water. And I want you to sit and think for a minute, and I hope somewhere out there the regions will do this too. Sit and think about spending a day without water, not being able to drink, not being able to use your sink, wash your dishes, take a shower, use a toilet, nothing. And now think about not just a day of that, but a week, a month. How would that impact your life? What would the world around you look like? Because someday in our near future, if we as Michigan, as a country, as a world, keep going down the road that we're going, that's going to be what we're all looking at. So it's now more important than ever to protect that 27% that we have in our hands and take a stand so that we can all have a brighter future where we can drink, we can shower, we can use indoor plumbing, and we can have access to the kind of life that we live right now without interference. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Number 14?
Number 14.
Ooh, pass. Number 15.
Right here. If you could say your name.
Sure.
You're a township resident.
Yep. Hi, my name's Nara. I'm a township resident. In fact, I live in the condos on the other side of the Huron River, where this is going to go, or proposed to go. So this will affect my family immensely. And I'm mad because I look at U of M, and it's supposed to be an institution of higher learning. And instead, it's become a corporation where all they care about is money and how much money they can make for themselves. They don't care about people. They don't care about the residents. They don't care about us. And it angers me because I'm a former employee. And I'll tell you, working there, it's obvious. They don't even care about their employees. And I think we need to be very loud and very present. And I guess I want to know how we are going to organize that, because I found out about this meeting today. And I have found out about other meetings literally the day after they've happened. Otherwise, I would have been here. And I want to see organization and communication to all of the residents here and beyond, because this doesn't just affect us. The Huron River continues down into Belleville. It continues going. This is going to affect our neighbors, because we are all one big community. And I was talking to a friend today, telling her about this, and she didn't even know where this was going and how close to her home it is. And I think that we need to get that out more, like this communication, because I know that there could be more people here, that we could pack this room, that we could pack the room. I think it's September 9th is the meeting with the regions. Is that what that is? Yes, the meeting with the regions. And I think we need to pack that. And I don't know exactly how to go about that, because I saw this on Facebook, but Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We need to get the young people involved because when we're gone, this is their, as many social media platforms as possible, as my daughter says, because this affects all of us.
All right, thank you.
Okay, but September 9th, I saw that, yes. I have that saved, so I can do that this evening.
You're through. Thank you. The 3 minutes is up, and just so you know, we have pushed it out, the September 9th meeting, on all of the social media platforms. We pushed them out today because today is a day we received the link from the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I did see that.
Last Tuesday, the University of Michigan announced, a whole week ago, they announced that they were going to locate it at Textile and Bridge. 27 minutes later, they texted me to have a phone call, and it was already out in the social media. So the reason we get it out as soon as we get it. The University of Michigan controls the information and how it drips out, and it's torture what they're doing to our community. But we will continue to get it out as soon as we can get it. We're going to do a mailer to every single resident. They're having another forum in October. They won't give us the date of that yet. If we knew the date, we could put it in the mailer. They control every aspect of information and decisions, and it's with disrespect to our community, our people, to anyone in Washtenaw County. And the Board of Regents should not allow this. If it's such a great, wonderful, state-of-the-art future, then why don't they proudly let people know? So we will get it out even more so. I'm sorry, who's next?
Is there a way that we can organize protests at U of M?
Yes, you can.
But we have to be careful because they have new rules and regulations.
Let's have who's next, please.
Number
Who's the next
16?
speaker?
16? Lori?
No, let's wait. We gotta get, who's
Number
16?
16? Okay. Okay, thank you. Number 17?
18.
18?
I got 18. I'm not going to pass.
All right.
Hey, Pam.
State your name. And if you're a
Okay.
township
My name's Chris Rizzo. I live in Ypsi Township. And I oppose this data center because I saw your the email about the coming up at U of M. I mean at the center, at the EMU center. And I noticed as I read carefully, it said it's a guided discussion. So it's not like town hall or open town hall. It's a guided discussion. And I'm wondering if that means they're going to shove their hand up your backside and work your jaw for you, since they're from Ann Arbor.
That's a fair question.
Yeah, which I'm sure they would avoid. But I think this guided discussion is just pre-programmed propaganda being planned by U of M. It's just another slap in the face to Ypsi Township, slap in your face. And it's what I really want to say is I think this whole data center thing is just a ruse and a ploy to introduce small nuclear reactors into the energy grid under the guise of national security. That's what the investors in Wall Street are seeing. They know that for the next 10 years, there's going to be increased demand for electrical energy. And that's just, that's what the Wall Street investors are looking for, a return on their investment. For the next 10 years, there's going to be an increase in demand for electrical energy. And I think that these data centers are just a ploy to introduce these small nuclear reactors. And if you do a search on the internet under small nuclear reactors, you'll see that they're aimed at these data centers. And I think that appropriate legal prohibitions and laws need to be created to prevent small nuclear reactors from being used in Ypsi Township under any circumstances unless the exhausted and depleted uranium fuel is stored in Ann Arbor. That's all I really want to say. Gracias.
Thank you. Doug, that's a good point.
Well, it's less than 3 minutes, I can tell you that. But I've been to Los Alamos, and when I went through there, which was maybe a year or two ago, it reminded me of a combination of downtown Ann Arbor and Somerset Mall. That was my impression of it.
They can stay there.
Number 18? Oh, 19?
I'm going to make sure I kind of keep flipping to my phone, so please start the time clock now. With that being said, my name is Monica Ross Williams. I am a West Willow resident and lifelong Ypsilanti area resident. I have some questions today, and that's what I'm going to address the questions. I know the board can't address them because it will have to go to Jeff Irwin. State Senator Jeff Irwin is the vice chair of the Universities and Community College Appropriations Subcommittee, and also basically the Michigan Senate Appropriation Committee. So the questions are, what project information was provided to Senator Irwin or his office during the state funding process for the $100 million grant? When was that information provided? When did Senator Irwin know the original 19.82 acres property could expand through the acquisition of another 124.6 acres? When did Senator Irwin know and learn the extent of the planned electrical infrastructure? When did Senator Irwin learn about the details of the Los Alamos computer-based nuclear stockpile mission? The reason why it needs to be called computer-based nuclear is because that's what Jeff Irwin called it. So that is a couple of the questions that I have. Now, I need to also ask some other questions. What information about the Los Alamos U of M project was available within Jeff Irwin's office? If I have it correct, one of the county commissioners, Ms. Somerville, is his chief of staff. When was that available in his office? What information, if any, was communicated to Chief of Staff Somerville in connection with her separate role as a county commissioner? These questions are very important. Because when this project was announced, I'm not going to say names, but I asked a specific question to someone I spoke to on Tuesday night while I was in D.C. The question was, did this authority go all the way up to the top of the chain, including the governor's office, about the pending announcement? I got silence. What silence means is that it is not a no. That means that it is a yes. So before this project was announced, it was basically brung down to be announced, in my strong opinion, from Governor Gretchen Whitmer to say it's going to go here. I also got from that same conversation that this project was about to be ready to be stopped by all of the residents protesting and also having issues with this project. To me, there is now need to be not only legislative investigations inside the Michigan House and the Senate, but there also maybe need to be some criminal investigations at this point, because who has got paid, what did they know, and when did they know it? With that, I will give up the mic.
Thank you. Next.
Number 20?
Where's 21? Who's 21? You're 20. All right, Miss Sarah.
Jeremy Haley, resident. I've been down Textile Road in the last week between Bridge and Rossville, and they're actually installing water mains on the property where the data center is going to be going. Down one of the access roads just past the plant where they own it, you can see probably 12 to 18-inch water lines already fused together going down that whole access road on that one side. And they already put survey stakes up. And just let people know that if you think it's funny, go pull them up. They usually put a metal stake in the ground, so you'll need a metal detector to find it. hypothetically. And also, we have to look to our other outside communities. Van Buren Township just gave full tax credit to the Google data center. And I don't know if anybody knows, been down on Ecorse Road on the other side of the World Airport, just between Beck Road and Denton, there's a data center being built right there. And I can guarantee you it's probably getting water from Yucca or something around there. It's getting water from somewhere.
Van Buren, right?
But it's...
But it's still water.
But Yucca also serves parts of Canton Township, so they do serve parts of Wayne County already. So anywhere they can distribute their water, because they need to use it, because they lost big services when the industries in that area went down. So they don't really care to a point who they give it or sell it to, because it's money for them and money for the infrastructure. And we just need to look to our other communities, especially Augusta Township right now with a big Thor lab thing going in. And I already talked to one of the trustees there, and he don't mind having miniature nuclear things coming in there to power it, because, you know, so this is what I mean. You guys need to go to these other places, talk to these officials where they can be off the record and ask them questions, and that's how I found out that he's okay with it. And all 375 residents will get water from this thing, but is it worth the outcome of it? And that's what is really not worth the waste of the water. And just let you know, the U of M Student Council allows public comment for people from the public. So if you want to show up to the Student Council meeting at the U of M Student Council, his first name is Summit. He's the U of M president for the U of M Student Council. I met him at a U of M Regent meeting, and I plan on attending that meeting. So
Thank you very much. The line they're putting in, there is a moratorium on water and sewer lines for any data, AI, computational, whatever else you want to call them. That is actually a gas line that was approved back in 2024, 25.
I'm talking about some of the line, real kinds of water line.
But we'll double check it. Next, we will.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Brabs. I live a couple townships over in York Township and have been here before and used to teach at Eastern Michigan. And I'm here for solidarity and for saying truth along with the rest of you. I just want to say, I can't remember who said this, that I heard it recently, but we're the many against the money. And so, in my opinion, we should encourage U of M students and donors to use their influence and connections to back out of supporting the University of Michigan with what means the most, which is their dollars. So I really think that that's a great call to action, especially, you know, those of us that don't do things like give U of M thousands of dollars all the time habitually. Maybe we could ask them to do that. And maybe along that same lines, we could talk to the people who are a multidisciplinary team of researchers from the University of Michigan who wrote the report last year called The Reactor Around the Corner about small modular nuclear reactors, and sounded a huge alarm. It's over 100 pages long about the technology that is not tested or safe, and everything about that, way more than I understood. Followed by this year, our president was so great, so nice of him. He just removed all sorts of energy requirements for specifically small modular nuclear reactors. So there's a lack of safety in the Department of Energy and testing and efficacy, plus federal grant funding, because that's also cool, for specifically these small modular nuclear reactors, which have been established by the University of Michigan. They are not safe. And none of us were born last night or yesterday, so that may not be part of the plans that we're national security not told and repeatedly lied to about. But around the country. They are starting to happen in places. They're happening in other countries. There's already data centers going on our public land and bait and switches all over the place. So whatever we each need to do to get super loud right now and talk about the truth and make it uncomfortable for people who have their heads up their ass, that is what we need to be doing right now. Thank you. I had a lot of other things planned to say, but...
Thank you, Sarah.
Also, you need to, all of you, tell everyone money out of politics. Our legislators are getting ready to vote to maybe just pass that as law. If they do that, it weakens it. 800,000-ish people total in Michigan signed that. It needs to go on our ballot. We need to call our representatives and tell them, vote no, do not make this law. They can weaken it later if they do, which DTE and all of them know. That's their last big play, at least. So we need to do that. We need to tell everyone to do that right now.
Number 22.
Good evening, Board. My name is Leah Mills Chapman, and I live in West Willow. I just first wanted to always say thank you all for joining alongside the citizens here, the residents here, in this fight against U of M and Los Alamos. I want for us to think just for a second about the phrase power and control. When you look at U of M, they are a form in their minds of a god. They feel that no one can usurp them. They are in total power. It leaves us sometimes feeling a little helpless, feeling a little hopeless, right? Not necessarily knowing which way we're going to turn. And I appreciate all of the work, Attorney Winters, that you've been doing to try to figure out what avenue possible that we can take. I just wanted to lend one additional one. I appreciate Paul Brown, I really do, for coming out and making a statement and for speaking with the township officials, but I also have an issue. And the issue that I have is going back to this power and control. We've already been forced into a particular situation. And now we have someone that's saying, hey, I agree, right? And I am opposed to this. But at the same token, they are also saying that I want to create the conditions in which I speak to you. Right? That for me, and I'm just speaking for me, that for me is problematic. Reason being is that harm has been imposed on us. And for him to create the conditions of, I will only speak to 10 people at a time, lets me know that it's still about, right, him feeling comfortable. Somebody said, make them feel uncomfortable. He needs to be put in a position where he has to sit in space with us and feel the same amount of discomfort that we feel. Every single day as we get the news, right? Every single day as we drive past Bridge and Textile, every day we have to think about how there is an impending threat on our lives and our families' lives and for generations to come. He too needs to feel, right, a bit of discomfort. And so when I say no, Blue, I mean no. No to everything that they are coming to us with, because they've had enough leverage. We got to take our power back. And that means even on September 9th, they're setting the conditions of when they will speak to us and when we have their attention and when we're able to come before them. Absolutely not. We need to be saying when we want you here. We need to be saying show up on this particular day, not waiting for October to figure out when they're going to come and speak to us. How dare they, after imposing such a threat, come to me and say, I want you to come when the power and control dynamic has to be broken, and we have to figure out how do we gain leverage and usurp them. And this is one way that I believe we can stand in solidarity and say no. All of the neighborhood associations that may have said to him already, yeah, I'll meet with you, don't. Don't make him feel uncomfortable. And then the board, you figure out a time where you bring him here and he has to face everyone. Because guess what? He went down to Detroit to the Michigan Democratic Convention and spoke before thousands of people. So he can do the same here. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah.
Hi, my name is Jen. I bought a house here in 2022. I lived here years before and graduated from Eastern. So there's a few things. I went on a little dive of my own. On their website, U of M says that they are going to preserve the Huron River portion of textile. I want to know exactly how. How? How are you going to preserve the river from your center, from all of the rubble and debris that happens when you start a construction project? How are you going to make sure every single piece of debris and nails and everything that goes into that, how are you going to make sure all of that is cleaned up and not a single thing ends up in that river? I don't know how they're going to do it, but I want to know how. Let's see. They also said that DTE says that there will not be direct financial or tech burden on the residents here. Is U of M paying for the energy bills? Because I don't see them doing that. Also, no direct financial burden. What is the indirect financial burden? Sorry, Attorney Winters, you answered a lot of things. Thank you for your FOIA request, by the way. Excuse me as I flip this piece of paper. They also say that the decibel level will be no louder than a household air conditioning unit. I don't know about you, but I don't run my air conditioning unit all day, every day. I know when it turns on and I can hear that. And I know that if I were to have to listen to that all day, it would drive me batshit insane. So yeah, their decibel level might be under the 70 decibels, so people don't have hearing loss, because at 80 decibels, you start having hearing loss, people. It's great. But if you have to listen to a slow hum all day and all night, it's just absolutely nuts. We talked a lot about water here today. I'm gonna go back to water. Let's talk about we've already dealt with so many water issues here. The Flint water crisis, which is still going on. So why are we going to do that to Ypsi? Also, back in 2021, the state decided to sell our Great Lakes to Nestle. There is no official count of how many Nestle plants are on the side of our Great Lakes. If you go to Lake Erie, it is practically dead. I went there to go to Cedar Point. It was nasty.
Thank you very much. You made some great points. Indirect, I like that.
24.
Thank you. I'm an Ypsi resident. I want to thank the board for defending this township every single meeting. I mean, we all stand impressed with Attorney Winters, but every single one of you up there, to the very impressive young lady that just spoke. We need young people like you. You've got all your notes. You did your homework. I think we're all really proud of you. So I want to echo something Attorney Winters said earlier. He said, there is still time to do the right thing. Just remember that. There is still time. Now, I think it's important to remember that sometimes people, organizations, universities, whatever the case may be, make decisions. Maybe they don't have all the information. Maybe they do, but maybe they realize, hey, I didn't think about the security threat. Oh, maybe I didn't think about the Native American implications. Oh, there's an eagle nest there, and now it's too late to save face. Well, let's let's just put it down. Maybe we need to have a little bit of grace and let them come to us and say, you know, you got a point there. And I would love to see a pivot on this. I would love to. There are other options, okay? We talked about New Mexico. We talked about, I don't know, like exactly the Concordia site. They don't want to build there, but there is time to make it right. So I just wanted to echo that. Secondly, I have a lot of questions. It seems like the more we learn, the more questions I have. So the resident behind me said, where is this going, or something like that? And what road are we on? Okay, so today we know whenever you have a project, you should disclose from beginning to end where you are with that. But I don't know that they even know that. So now we're going to have a computational data center for how many years? For 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, 50 year? What if that need goes away and it's sold to a corporation like OpenAI? There are individuals in this room that know a lot about that issue. And honestly, we don't know this. So I'm wondering also, now pulling back with what we do know, when we have let's say a storm come through and the power's down, are they on the prioritized substation and the residents are not? I mean, we know the hospitals and the school, I think it's the hospitals and the schools are they going to be on that prioritized substation so our power comes up later? Has DT addressed that? I'm not aware. And then finally, and this is a scary phrase, but I'm going to lay it down there for everybody to think about. What if this is an expansion project and it leads to eminent domain? Why aren't we talking about this? And if it doesn't, great. But if it doesn't, great. Do we have that in writing? What I'd like to see in writing is this is what we're not going to do. But I don't see that. I just see like a subset of here's what we're going to do, but I don't have the full plan. So that makes me nervous. And that may be why, that's another reason why no one wants to live next to these things and why we're concerned about our property values.
Thank you.
Thank you.
25.
Where's 26?
Hello, my name's Natalie. I am an AMU graduate and I am a community organizer. So I'm here to kind of say that there are people fighting out against this. I look around and I see a room full of people who really care and that really want to do something. And there are places where you can go and you can do something about this. Like everybody here decided to come, what day is it? On a Tuesday at 6 o'clock. That's a weird time. And there's a lot of other times and situations and places where we can go and like collaborate together and do something about this together. So I'm gonna kind of let you guys know some opportunities. There is a Stop the Data meeting in North Hydro Park on 8/29. So the 29th of this month, we are going to be holding a meeting to kind of discuss what we can do as a community to fight against the data center and kind of organize together so each one of us can have an active role in fighting against this. As well as me being a community organizer, I'm organizing an event this September 12th where we're going to do an informational. We're going to teach in about everything data center related. We're going to give any information that we've been able to find and scour and answer all of your questions. That way we are no longer in the dark about this, because that is how U of M and Los Alamos have been able to get as far as they have, is by not answering anything. And so we're here to kind of bring all that information to light. Thank you. Yes, so for the meetings, it's Stop the Data on Instagram. And then I work through, we have some flyers in the back over here for the meeting. And then for the organization I work through, which is Michigan Student Action, you can follow us on Instagram as well. It's Washtenaw Michigan Student Action. MSA_Washtenaw. And that is where information about the teach-in will be posted. And also come up to me afterwards if you guys have questions or want to get into contact with me.
Thank you very much.
Okay. 26.
As I was saying, I want to thank you guys for being so committed to the things that are dear to us, because this is really so dear to me, because I'm a young grandmother and I have grandchildren that are in the neighborhood at school, so it's very close to home in all matters concerning me.
I would take leadership stand for food because I service the community here through my business. Both my business are food related. So my question to U of M would be, what are the things that you're going to do in the area for food sovereignty? Because if we're struggling with water, we definitely will be struggling with food. So a lot of my concerns have been voiced today, but as a community, I'm asking you guys that we all kind of band together. Since it's more of us, we need to really hit their pockets. We know that they're about the money now, and since they're getting the money, we need to start diverting money to smaller businesses or people that think like we do and not feed the people that are causing us harm. And since they don't care about us, they should not be caring about our dollars. So in any way that you're able to redivert your spending daily habits, make sure that currently U of M is not on that agenda to receive any funding from you, because we don't want to support those that are causing us harm. So I'm going to follow up with the community organizer on there and see what I can do, and hopefully you guys will be able to figure out ways that we can all divert our fundings that we're paying to U of M.
That includes their,
Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for being here tonight, board, and for staying so late listening to all of our concerns. My name is Dr. Juliana Ritchie. I have a PhD from the University of Michigan in biomedical engineering, and I live in the township. One thing that I've heard a lot from the community is the concern for nuclear power and nuclear weaponry. However, one thing that I think is very insidious and that needs to be addressed is the fact that U of M has come back being like, oh, we're going to do healthcare research with the data center. Specifically, they have called out cancer research, which, fun fact, data centers have been linked to causing rare cancers. So, you know, I'm a little bit tied into that as a biomedical scientist, and I work at the cancer center currently. Additionally, AI does not have any regulation on what it can do with our healthcare information. I have people who work at the call center who daily are getting yelled at and cussed out because they think U of M is already using AI callers, and they do not want their information given to an AI that is unregulated with what they can and cannot do with our data, like sell it to insurance companies or any other thing that you can think of. But we also have to think about the health concerns that come with data centers. Many towns have reported these, have reports of, hey, the data center moved in, and suddenly stillbirths went up in the cattle around in farms. Suddenly we were getting colony collapse for the bees. And as Ypsilanti is bee city, I'm very pro bee. I'm worried about that because if the bees go, so does our food, and the bees are not going to be moving to New Mexico. And the people who are going to be staying behind are going to have further food shortages and further water inequalities. And this is more than just nuclear weapons. This is more than just warfare. This is also becoming a healthcare issue, further disservicing the minorities and the disenfranchised that live in this community, the things that U of M and Ann Arbor and the people who are on the Board of Regents do not have to think about because they are in a different tax bracket than probably everyone in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
28.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm a township resident. Thanks, Natalie. So yeah, thank you so much to the board. Thank you for everybody being here. I know it's a lot. We all have a lot going on in our lives, and so it's so meaningful for people to take time to be here in opposition to this project. And you know, so much of my concerns have been voiced, and you know, I have sat next to Jeff Irwin and expressed some concerns to him, and been told that, you know, the concerns are overblown and it's not really that big of a deal. Like, I know everybody has been told, and I think we will continue to be told. But again, like many of you have said, I think these people don't even really know where they're going or how big of a deal a lot of this is. The Saline Data Center, they originally estimated that cost to be $4.8 billion. That project is now $43 billion. These people are really bad at predicting that impact of their projects. And they're not slowing down or even giving us the information when we ask them. To your point about, how are you going to protect the river? I've driven to Saline and driven behind a truck that literally just had gravel just falling out of it, hit my window. And I don't even really want to go to Saline right now because I'm like, that is very likely going to happen. Construction is extremely damaging. And again, with the water, they're like, oh, it's a closed loop system. It's no big deal. Well, as again, we understand from Saline, the closed loop is that they take the water out of the river, they run it through the data center and put chemicals in it, and then they put it back in the river, and that's the closed loop. So again, a lot of these things that they tell us, oh, it's green, it's a closed loop, it's no big deal. Once we find out more information that U of M is currently withholding from us, we find out that it is actually a big deal. Thank you also for being here and for all of your comments, and again, to the board and Attorney Winters.
Thank you.
29.
Okay, my name is Valeria Banks. I am a resident of Ypsilanti Township. Thank you very much to the board for having this meeting. It is one of many, many meetings that they had and will go forward. I love the blue and yellow t-shirts, but what we need to do is to go to Ann Arbor council meetings with these t-shirts, with our children. It's a lot of women that is here that are childbearing age, that we don't know what the impact is going to have on you, nor our babies. We talk about nature and the environment, but what about the children? What's going to happen to them as a result of this? Yes, we need to start attending City of Ann Arbor Council meeting to let them see our faces, to let them know our concerns. Because if you don't want them in your backyard, why should we want them in our backyard? Right. Second of all, yes, there's only 2 region officers, Paul and Yusuf, that is running. Amir that is running. But we need to be calling each and every one that is on the board. I believe that if the squeaky wheel, it's the one that's going to get oil. They're the ones who control the money. They're the ones who give the approval. So yes, we need to be calling them. We need to be emailing them on a daily basis, a weekly basis, to let them know this is not going to happen to us. This is not going to happen to us. Everybody that is on every board, every council, watching our commissioners, we need to be reaching out to each and every one. Because what I thought about today was, do anyone remember that movie called television Under the Dome? If something happens to that data center, will the fallout just occur in Ypsilanti Township? Or will that fallout happen in Ann Arbor and Wayne County? And this is what we need to know, and this is what we need to tell them. We don't live under a dome. So if something happens to that data center as far as security or anything else, we're not going to stand for it. So yes, we need to push back. We need to let Ann Arbor know. We're not going to stand for this. If you don't want it in your backyard, why do we want it in ours? So yes, tomorrow, tonight, start emailing the folks that's on the region, start voting, emailing people that are commissioners and our public officers. Let them know, no, we're not going to stand for this. And let our governor know your exit interview is a F.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I got number 30, and I don't think I can top that. I love you too. I love you too. First of all, I want to say, oh, great. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to this board for hosting this community forum. I've been to a lot of these types of meetings across the county, and what I have noticed and observed in other cases is hostility between the folks on that side of the dais and the folks on this side of the dais. What I'm seeing here today is a lot of love and a lot of solidarity, and that is very noticeable, not just in how you are reacting, but in how the staff in the room are reacting. You can, give that a round of applause. I think that I've also been very impressed with how the Township Board and the staff have stood up against this data center, against the University of Michigan, and stood strong. So my name is Yusuf Rabi. I'm a Washtenaw County Commissioner. I represent downtown Ann Arbor and most of the University of Michigan's campus. I am also the next mayor of Ann Arbor. Thank you. I am proud to be here today to stand in solidarity with the people of Ypsilanti and Ypsilanti Township to say no Los Alamos Data Center. I'm here because I know that the air you breathe is the same air that I breathe. I'm here because I know that the water you drink is the same water that I drink. I'm here because I know that when you pay your utility rates, which are already too high, you're paying it to the same company that I'm paying my utility rates to. I don't want your rates to go up. I don't want my rates to go up. I'm here because I know that the military-industrial complex, every dollar that we spend on that is a dollar less that we can spend on education. I'm here because every dollar that we spend on researching new ways to kill children is a dollar less that we can spend helping families who are currently right now grieving lost loved ones to a healthcare system that is inhumane, that favors profit over humanity. I am here because I know that the power of the people and the power of this board and the power of people all over this county can come together and win. I've seen Supervisor Stumbo with me in Saline Township standing up against that data center. This is a fight that we are fighting on many fronts. Data centers are coming to our county, and I don't want them in Ann Arbor. I don't want them in Ypsilanti Township. I don't want them in Saline Township. I don't want them anywhere in our state. And I'm ready to stand up with the people all over Michigan to say no. And as the sign says, what does it say? Hail no. By the way, I just bought my sign. I just bought my sign. And I'm going to put it up in my yard in Ann Arbor. I'm very proud of that. And I'm proud of the fact that as somebody who represents the University of Michigan campus and who is going to very soon be the mayor of Ann Arbor, that I'm here with you today to stand in solidarity. This is a fight that when we are unified, we can win. Thank you for having me, and keep up the fight.
Thank you, Yusuf.
Thank you. Tough act to follow. Thank you, Yusuf, for coming. Hi, my name is Courtney, Ypsi Township resident. I've been here for about 6 years. My family's been here for an eternity. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I would be remiss if I didn't echo everything in the room and also bring up some things that I brought up at the last meeting that most of you were not at. Yusuf just brought up our water rates going up. Those water rates are going up. We discussed it at the last meeting. Our Yucca director could not deny that Great Lakes Water Authority is raising our rates because of the data centers. So our rates are now going up about 5% due to, about 6% actually, due to Great Lakes Water Authority, and a little bit more due to what we need for our own infrastructure. So I wanted to bring up that issue, and also an issue I brought up last time that the board is aware of. We also are working with an association and a firm and MEDC. If you look at our master plan that was made in 2020, the language of the master plan and the association that is telling Saline Township, Dundee, Allen Park, and multiple other areas that this firm works with, that we can't exclusively zone them out and that we can't ban them. But if you look at the language of the plan, they are inviting them in. The site here was rezoned in 2022 to industrial.
industrial, inviting them right in. The master plan for the bomber plant says they want to be a technology magnet, inviting them right in. Doug, I thank you so much. Brenda, you as well. All of you guys are working very hard. They encouraged me to get involved in reworking the master plan. I encourage all of you to do that as well, to change that language so that it's not inviting. They're going to tell us we can't ban them, but we're not inviting them in either. We don't want them here. I also really quick want to mention I'm also planning, and I want to work with our Stop the Data Center friends. We are planning a protest on September 5th, which will be Michigan's first home game. So we will be protesting at the bridge with Van Buren. Van Buren Township's right on Rawsonville Road, and so are we. We're going to, in solidarity, protest with them. We are also working with Ypsi Peace House. We are going to be accepting clothing donations so you can get rid of your U of M clothing and purchase one of Leah's great shirts instead. So if you want to support Ypsi, get rid of your U of M clothing and any lightly used or new clothing that you no longer wish to use, and donate that to a good cause to support Ypsi, unlike U of M is doing. We're going to do that on September 5th on their game day to show them out and show them up. We want everybody on that bridge, on Rawsonville, on Bridge Road, and at the park. We're going to show out. Right now, I'm going to say noon to 2, still in the works, but we are talking with Ypsi Peace House to take those donations. So let's get together and do that.
Thank you, Courtney. Are there any other?
That's all the numbers we had. Oh, 32. Sorry, I didn't know we had 32.
I got special permission from people to speak again. This is some of what I meant to say the first time. So Related Digital, which Stephen Ross owns, Ross Business School, related companies that's involved in Los Alamos as well as the Saline Township Data Center, they filed a permit to Eagle for a domestic wastewater discharge plant for their 450 mostly imaginary employees all flushing toilets. And it's totally just going to be toilet water, So I know from data like Virginia and Wyoming and other places that closed loop is bullshit for obvious reasons that don't even take a scientist to understand. And also with 150 buildings, most of which have server racks running hot, the drains that will be part of the drain system through that, just themselves, that is going to have sludge and contaminants. So it's sort of like watching the dioxin plume ahead of time. And just watching how it's a domestic wastewater discharge permit. So Eagle has public comment open until August 24th. The Protect Saline Data Center Facebook page, which I finally was given permission to be an admin on. It's a long story. Anyways, there's information there about that. If you could yell about that loudly, that would be really helpful in public comment. There's a lot of work we've been doing behind the scenes to learn how to do that better. So we'll be putting stuff up there soon related to that. And the other thing I wanted to say is Milan Township, I don't think there are any organizers there, really. And everyone that I know, the hundreds of people, no one has stepped up to organize this. They are facing a power plant now from consumers. Yes, that's right down the road, right? So the Lima Township DTE power plant had crazy, connected organizers and got them to apologize, and it was a weird unicorn situation. So, but now they're doing that, and they had a meeting and kind of misled people about how the room should look and what was on the agenda, and then at the last minute people found out that wasn't really the case. So there was just a Zoom and a whole meeting about it. I wasn't able to go, but you should be aware of that, and if anyone has organizing capabilities and actually has time, that community needs some attention. That air travels, as we all know, and it's all part of the complete hypocrisy and crap around we need to build out the grid for these hyperscale AI harmful data centers of surveillance and war, all of which we know is bullshit. So I just wanted to highlight those two things as calls to action.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Does that conclude? Our board members, would you like to say something before we move on? I do want people to know that this is a regular board meeting. But we welcome and have received people coming to our meeting for months and months and months. We've also had special meetings that are public hearing meetings, not a hearing, just public meetings and input 3 times for 4. 3 times. So, but this is just a regular board meeting. And because it was announced Tuesday a week ago. That's why people are coming here, because they and we are very upset. Are there any board members that have any comments that they would like to make? If not, I do want to just say that the University of Michigan, they might have a constitutional right to not pay taxes. They have a constitutional right to not go through planning processes, fire department reviews, building reviews. They do not have a constitutional right to harm our people, to harm our land, and to harm our community. And I think if we were playing baseball, and we've just begun, folks. Like, we've been dealing with this for a long time, and we have been strategizing for a long time. We can't always say the legal strategy that we're taking, but please know that our attorney, other staff members, other board members, other professionals have been working on this night and day since they've tried and since they did the bait and switch for the 20 acres, 200 jobs, 2 office buildings at $200,000 a year. That was the bait. And yes, I supported it because it sounded, they didn't say it was a data center. That's not the words they used. And then they're simultaneously buying 124 acres behind our backs, behind the people's backs, but there are a lot of people who knew about this project way before it became public. And Doug, I'm like you, I'm getting hot here.
It's getting hot up in here.
Strike one. This must be the most environmentally sensitive area that we have in Ypsilanti Township, possibly Washtenaw County. Why would you choose this for 2 data centers? You know it will heat up the earth. You know the noise, the constant cumulative noise will damage people, children, anyone that has auto sensitivity, damaging. And someone said it tonight. They said it'll drive you crazy, and it does. The air, the earth, it's 165 feet from the corner of Textile and Bridge to a more affordable housing. That's where you choose to locate, 165 feet from people. Strike two. It's in the lowest opportunity index. Everyone knows it because University of Michigan did the report on this. It was their report that we used to determine how we deal with the future in Ypsilanti Township. They talked about the health and how we have to increase the health indicators of our residents in 48197 and 48198. And that's where you choose to locate? This is beyond shocking. And what they will say, well, we didn't know that that department was doing that. We've met with the University of Michigan. When you talk to people, I mean, it's very military. There's 6 vice presidents. They report to the president, the Board of Regents. And Regent Brown, I know there's some questions on better ways to have larger meetings and not let them control, but he has been the only regent that has come out against this, against the environmental racism, against the health racism, against poverty. He is the only one. He is pro-environment. And he's feeling it. He's feeling it from the opposition, which is now the University of Michigan. So I know it's tough, but at least he stood up when no one. We need more people to stand up and they won't. We need our county board of commissioners to stand up, because if you do not stand up against it, then you are for it. There's just no choice on that. Strike 3, and we just started. Tribal lands, Native American burials, identified immediately west of Bridge Road. There are many more strikes that can go against the University of Michigan. Shame on you. These 3 things alone is enough to say, you know what? We made the wrong decision. And yes, we'll file a lawsuit if we have to. Don't make the decision. That is the best offensive move that we can use, is have the University of Michigan Board of Regents reverse their decision. They have a new president that's coming. It's a woman from Chicago. Read a little bit about it. I'm a little concerned. But she has to do better than what we have now. And the Board of Regents cannot be silent on this. Email them, and Mila is in the back. She has the form, and it's just a piece of paper. It has all their email and all their phone numbers. Tell them we need to reverse this decision. Strike 3, you are out, U of M, and get out of our community. We don't want you, and we don't need this kind of economic development and harm that you are doing to our people and our community. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go on with the regular meeting. We will still, and hopefully September 9th, we've done all the social media platforms. Register to get there. There's only 300 people allowed. They will be on a waiting list according to what they say now. Leah, like you said, they're controlling it. And then the meeting in October, you will be on that list to go there. So please go and register for the meeting and get on the waiting list if you have to. We went to a meeting for the post office that Congresswoman Dingell held. There was over 700-800 people there. Why there's only 300 people allowed?
In the whole ballroom.
In the largest ballroom in Washtenaw County.
We need to ask them to get the whole ballroom. That's ridiculous.
And again, like Leah said, it's all about control. And I did send an email to ask. All right, we're going to go on to the agenda. Mr. Winters, thank you for an outstanding job. And we will fight this. Under old business, we have the second reading of ordinance 2026-515, which is an ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Article 4, Sections 62 through 76A of the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Ypsilanti, to adjust the water service rates. Clerk Swanson.
Be it ordered by the Charter Township of Ypsilanti that Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 62-76A of the Code of Ordinances is amended as follows. Except as otherwise provided in the section, water to be furnished by the system shall be measured by a meter controlled by the Ypsilanti Community Utilities Authority. For all billings rendered prior to September 1st, 2026, existing water service rates shall prevail. For all billings rendered on or after September 1st, 2026, charges for water service rates shall be as follows for each bi-monthly 2-month period. Readiness to serve rates based on size of meter size 5/8 to 3/4 inch, $20.66. 1 inch, $51.65, 1 to 1.5 inches, $103.31, 2 inches, $165.30, 3 inches, $516.55, 4 inches, $1,033.10, 6 inches, $2,066.19, 8 inches, $3,615.84, 10 inches, $5,682 $6,058.03, 12 inches, $6,715.13. Commodity rate, $4.47 per 100 cubic feet. So moved.
Support. Motion Swanson, support Rowe to approve the second reading of the resolution, and it effectively will be a 5.75 increase in the township division bi-monthly bill according to the memo, and it was presented at the last meeting as well. We have to do a roll call vote. Rowe?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Swanson?
Yes.
Stumbo votes yes. Eldridge?
Yes.
And Thornton?
Yes.
The second reading is approved. Under old business number 2, and then we'll take a break for, if that's okay, real quick. Number 2 is second reading of ordinance 26-516, an ordinance to amend chapter 62, article 4, sections 62 through 77 of the Code of Ordinance, Charter Township of Ypsilanti, to adjust sewer service rates.
Be it ordered by the Charter Township of Ypsilanti that Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 62-77 of the Code of Ordinances is amended as follows. For all billings rendered prior to September 1st, 2026, existing sewage disposal service rates shall prevail. For all billings rendered on or after September 1st, 2026, charges for sewage disposal services shall be as follows. For each bi-monthly 2-month period, readiness to serve rates based on size of meter, 5/8 to 3/4 inches, $20, 1 inch, $49.99, 1 inch, or 1.5, $99.96, 2 inches, $159.95, 3 inches, $499.84, 4 inches, $999.67, 6 inches, $1,999.33, 8 inches, $3,498.83, 10 inches, $5,498.16, 12 inches, $6,497.83. Commodity rate, $3.29 per 100 cubic feet. So moved.
Motion Swanson.
Support Peterson.
Support Peterson. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Rowe?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Swanson?
Yes.
Stumbo votes yes. Eldridge?
Yes.
And Thornton?
Yes.
The second reading is approved. Before we break, I know the Judge Washington and the magistrate are here, so if we could do new business number 1, which is approve new participation agreement with 14B Court and 13 Verticals LLC, and pay the one-time licensing fee of $15, which is budgeted.
So move.
Motion, Rowe?
Support.
We have a motion and support. Magistrate?
I wasn't sure if you needed me to say anything. Do you have any questions?
We told her we're good.
Yeah, okay.
Nice presentation in your writing.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, or would you like?
I do not. And if you have any questions for me, just let me know.
No.
All right, we have a motion and support then. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 2 is also part of the 14B Court. Approve Michigan Indigent Defense Council contracts with the Washtenaw County Public Defender's Office for 2025, 26, and 26, 27 fiscal years in the amount of $42,677.90, which is budgeted in General Fund Township 101-287-801-007.
So move.
Motion, Rowe.
Support Thornton.
Support Thornton. Is there discussion on this? We do this every year, and I see it's a 2-year agreement. That's great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 3 is to approve the new participation agreement with the Courts and Law Enforcement Management System, which is Clemis Authority, and accept the quote for the 2026-27 fiscal year in the amount of $9,527, which is budgeted in the Court 236-286-819-006.
Support Peterson.
Motion Peterson,
Support.
support Eldridge. Is there discussion on this? We do this every year as well.
Yes.
Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome, and thank you, and we apologize for the delay.
No, thank you.
Should we keep
live in the
going?
township too.
Number 4 is approve the Charter Township of Ypsilanti road closures, parades, events, celebrations, festivals policy.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge, support Rowe. Is there discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is to approve entering into negotiations to sell township-owned property at 1710 Outer Lane Drive.
So moved.
Motion Rowe, support Swanson. This will be brought back to the board. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 6 is the first reading, Resolution 2026-17, which is in reference to Ordinance 2026-517. It's an ordinance to amend zoning ordinance tech, land use table, form-based code regulations, changes and amendments. Clerk Swanson?
Whereas the township passed a new zoning ordinance in 2022 that was a document aligned with the Charter Township 2040 Master Plan, and whereas the township from time to time wants to update and clean up the zoning ordinance for easier to understand and implement process and regulations that continue to align with the master plan, and whereas this ordinance proposes zoning text amendment updates to 3 sections of the code, which include the land use table, the form-based code regulations, and the changes to the amendments for rezoning and conditional rezoning, and whereas at its regularly scheduled meeting held July 14th, 2026, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti Planning Commission held a public hearing, discussed the proposed text amendments, and recommended that the Township Board approve the ordinance amendment as presented. Now therefore be it resolved that the Charter Township of Ypsilanti Board hereby adopts and incorporates by reference ordinance number 2026-517 attached here to by reference in its entirety. So moved.
Motion Swanson,
Support Peterson.
support Peterson. Would you like a presentation, board members? This is first reading. We'll have the second one. Want it brought back?
Yep.
Second one?
Yeah.
Fine with me.
And have a presentation then?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Very good. We have to do a roll call vote on a ordinance, which is Rowe,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Swanson.
Yes.
Stumbo votes yes. Eldridge.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
The first reading is approved. Mark, thank you for your patience, and we'll do a complete presentation before adopting the final reading. Number 7 is Resolution 2026 MDNR Trust Fund Project Development Agreement for North Bay Park Pavilion improvements.
So move Peterson.
Support. Rowe.
Is that a resolution?
We have a motion, Peterson, is that,
Yes.
and support Rowe. Questions or comments?
So it was.
Motion Rowe, no, motion Peterson, support Rowe.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Red?
This is just for, we were awarded the grant, and this is a formal acceptance of the grant.
Good evening, John Hines, Municipal Service Director. This and the following agenda item are the official, as Supervisor Stumbo said, the official awards of the 2025 MDNR Trust Fund Grant. This was applied for last year, so again, budget year 2025 for their MDNR's project cycle, excuse me. So this would be to renovate the North Bay Park Pavilion, which would be a complete demolition and reconstruction of the bathroom and Pavilion number 1 in North Bay Park. So this is a requirement to accept the grant, as well as the next agenda item. The amount for the project is a 50-50 match of, I think it's $308,600.
Thank you. Questions or comments? This is good news?
Yes.
Yes, we got a grant, woo-hoo. We have a motion and support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Number 8 is the approved 2025 MDNR Trust Fund Development Project Agreement for North Bay Park, the Pavilion Project.
So moved.
Motion Thornton,
Support.
support Eldridge.
It's for engineering, right?
Yes.
This is the official project, the next one's for engineering. This is, you have to do a resolution and a project agreement to submit to the MDNR. So we actually applied for this grant initially with Ernak Consulting, and then Spicer Group helped us finish it. So these 2 items, along with an updated legal description and project boundary map, are the 4 things we need to do to officially accept the grant, and then we can get started after that.
Thank you. We have a motion support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Number 9 is to award Manick and Smith Group as a prime professional engineer for the North Bay Park Pavilion and Restroom Project in the amount of $66,497.66, which is budgeted and will be reimbursed 50% by the Michigan Natural Resources MDNR Trust Fund grant.
So moved.
Motion Thornton. Support Rowe. Any questions or comments? Let's get this project moving. Thank you, John.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 10 is request to approve OHM advisors for design, engineering, and bidding services for the Loon Feather Point Park dock replacement project with a not-to-exceed amount of $24,000, which is budgeted in 213-901-975-587.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge.
Support.
Support Thornton. Discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Great park improvements here. Number 11, approved Fishback for construction administration services for the Clubview Park Pavilion project in the amount of $4,400, which is budgeted.
So moved, Peterson.
Support.
Motion Peterson, support Newman. Discussion? And this will be done this year.
Correct, that is the goal. Later on the agenda, we are bringing a contractor that was the bid on the project. So with Fishback, we're going to meet on Monday, if approved tonight, and hopefully get everything ordered and done before the winter this year.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 12 is Resolution 2026-19, which is a second amendment to the Articles of Incorporation, the Washtenaw Regional Resource Management Authority, and the only change is the number of times in which they meet, or how often they meet. That is the only change.
Yeah, the only change is the requirement was monthly, and now they're moving to quarterly.
That is the only change. So we need a motion, and did I get one?
So moved.
Support.
Motion Eldridge, support Thornton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 13 is Resolution 2026-20, which is participation in Washtenaw Purchase of Development Rights Program.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge,
Support.
support Rowe.
They've never wanted to use our land, so what changed?
I'm just thankful, Karen.
I am too.
Yeah, and first time for everything.
First time in what, 30 years we've been paying the millage, or 40, whatever it is, so.
But we're glad.
Glad.
So this will allow us to participate in purchasing agricultural land for preservation. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 14 is to accept the resignation of Erica Vanier from the Zoning Board of Appeals effective September 5th, 2026.
So moved, Peterson.
Support. Motion Peterson, support Rowe. This will be advertised for vacancy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 15 is a resolution 2026-21, which is a resolution establishing a temporary moratorium on establishment, construction, expansion, or approval of major electric utility infrastructure within the Charter Township of Ypsilanti.
So moved.
Support.
Motion Eldridge, support Thornton. I think this one should be read into the record.
Yes.
Mr. Winters? Is that correct?
Clerk Swanson said I could read it if I wanted to. So I will do the pleasure. Resolution 2026-21, a resolution establishing a temporary moratorium on the establishment, construction, expansion, or approval of major electric utility infrastructure within the Charter Township Ypsilanti. The Charter Township Ypsilanti hereby finds and determines as follows. Number one, purpose and findings. Whereas the Charter Township Ypsilanti has the responsibility to protect the public health, safety, and welfare, and to provide the orderly use and development of land within the township consistent with applicable state and federal law. And whereas the township's master plan and zoning ordinance seek to promote orderly development, protect residential neighborhoods and environmentally sensitive lands, minimize unreasonable burdens upon public facilities and services, protect natural resources, and ensure compatibility among land uses. And whereas the township zoning ordinance presently defines and regulates certain essential services provided by public utilities, including electrical transmission and distribution systems. However, the township's existing regulations do not comprehensively address the land use impacts associated with the construction of substantial expansion of modern high-capacity electrical substations, switching stations, transformer yards, transmission facilities, and related major electrical infrastructure. And whereas the nature and scale of electrical infrastructure necessary to serve new high-energy demand land uses are changing rapidly, including infrastructure associated but not limited to hyperscale data centers, mid-sized data centers, artificial intelligent computing facilities, and high-performance computational centers, industrial facilities, and other intensive electrical users. And whereas the township has previously recognized through its planning and zoning actions that major electrical utility facilities may require substantial electrical infrastructure, including but not limited to substations, generators, batteries, transmission improvements, and other electrical support facilities. And whereas the major electric utility facilities may have significant land use impacts that differ substantially from routine electrical distribution facilities serving homes and businesses, including impacts related to location, land consumption, setbacks, screening, noise, lighting, visual character, stormwater, natural resources, emergency access, proximity to residential neighborhoods and public open spaces, construction activity, resource consumption, utility rates, and compatibility with existing and planned development. And whereas the establishment of substantial expansion of such facilities before the township has had a reasonable opportunity to study these issues could result in development patterns or impacts that are difficult or impossible to remedy after construction. And whereas the Township Board therefore determines that a temporary narrowly tailored moratorium is necessary to allow the Township Planning Commission, Township staff, consultants, engineers, and legal counsel sufficient time to study major electric utility facilities and determine whether amendments to the Township's master plan, zoning ordinances, engineering standards, or other applicable regulations are necessary to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. And whereas the resolution is intended solely as a temporary land use measure, it is not intended to regulate electrical utility rates, service territories, electric reliability standards, the generation of sale of electricity, or any other matter with the exclusive jurisdiction of the Michigan Public Service Commission, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or other state or federal agency. And whereas nothing in this resolution is intended to prohibit routine maintenance, replacements, repair, emergency restoration, ordinary customer connections, or improvements reasonably necessary to maintain safe and reliable electrical service to existing residences and businesses. Section 2, definitions. For the purpose of this resolution, electric utility means any person, corporation, municipal utility, cooperative, public utility, electric utility, transmission company, affiliated transmission company, independent transmission company, or other entity engaged in the generation, transmission, or distribution of electric energy, including but not limited to entities such as DTE Electric Company, ITC Transmission, Michigan Electric Transmission Company, LLC, and their successors or affiliates. Major electric utility facility means any of the following. A new electrical substation, switching station, switch yard, transformer station, transformer yard, or comparable facility designed to transform, switch, regulate, control, or transmit electrical power, including both as a principal use or as an accessory use. B, the physical expansion of an existing electrical substation, switching station, switch yard, transformer station, or transformer yard, including an increase in the fenced or developed area of the facility, installation of additional major power transformers, or installation of additional transmission, level, switching, or bus equipment, including both as a principal use or an accessory use. C, a new overhead electrical transmission line or transmission corridor. D, a substantial expansion of an existing transmission corridor involving additional transmission circuits, new transmission towers, or structures, or acquisition or establishment of materially expanded rights-of-way. Or E, buildings, access roads, control facilities, storm water improvements, or other structures principally accessory to a facility described above. Routine utility work means maintenance, repair, placement, reconstruction, consumer connections or customer connections, distribution system improvements, vegetation management, and emergency restoration or similar work that does not constitute the establishment or substantial expansion of a major electric utility facility. Section 3, temporary moratorium. During the effective period of this resolution, no major electric facility shall be established, constructed, or substantially expanded within the Charter Township of Ypsilanti when such activity requires zoning, land use, site plan, special land use, variance, grading, engineering, right-of-way, or other approval from the township. During this moratorium, A, no township department, officer, employee, commission, board, or other body shall grant final zoning or land use approval for the establishment or substantial expansion of a major electric utility facility. B, applications for a major electric utility facility may be received for administrative purposes if required by law, but no final township land use approval shall be granted during the moratorium. C, the moratorium shall apply to applications pending on the effective date of this resolution that have not received all required final township approvals except to the extent an applicant has acquired vested rights recognized under Michigan law. D, no applicant shall obtain vested rights solely by filling an application during the effective period of the moratorium. D, exemptions. This moratorium shall not apply to A, emergency repairs or work reasonably necessary to restore electrical service following storms, accidents, equipment failures, natural disasters, or other emergencies. B, routine maintenance and ordinary repair of existing utility facilities. C, replacement of existing poles, wires, transformers, conductors, structures, or equipment with substantially similar facilities within an existing utility corridor or developed utility site. D, ordinary electric distribution improvements and customer service connections that do not involve construction or substantial expansion of a major electric utility facility. E, work demonstrated to the township to be immediately necessary to correct an unsafe condition or prevent a substantial and imminent threat to electrical reliability or public safety. F, projects that received in all required final township land use approvals before the effective date of this resolution and for those approvals, for which those approvals remain valid. G, activities for which legally vested rights existed before the effective date of this resolution, or H, any facility, project, approval, or activity to the extent that application of this resolution is expressly preempted by state or federal law or by a valid order, certificate, or authorization of an agency having controlling jurisdiction. Section 5, state and federal jurisdiction. This resolution shall be interpreted and administered consistent with the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, the Electrical Transmission Line Certification Act, applicable provisions of the Michigan Public Service Commission's enabling statutes, the Michigan Constitution, and applicable federal law. Nothing contained herein shall be interpreted as attempting to supersede or interfere with the certificate of public convenience
and necessity over other state or federal authorization having preemptive effect. The township expressly reserves all authority not presented by state or federal law, including its authority over land use zoning, township property, township rights of way, and other matters of local concern to the fullest extent permitted by law. Section 6, Planning and Regulatory Study. During the moratorium, the Township Planning Commission and township staff, in consultation with the township attorney, township engineer, planning consultant, and other qualified professionals as appropriate, shall study the appropriate regulation of major electric utility facilities. The study should consider as applicable: 1, appropriate zoning districts and locations for major electric utility facilities; 2, minimum setbacks from residential uses, property lines, parks, schools, environmentally sensitive areas, and other potentially incompatible uses; 3, screening, landscaping, fencing, and buffering; 4, noise and vibration; 5, exterior lighting; 6, height and visual impacts of transmission studies and utility equipment; 7, stormwater management and impervious surface impacts; 8, wetlands, woodlands, floodplains, watercourses, and other natural resources; 9, emergency access, fire protection, and public safety considerations; 10, construction, traffic, and impacts upon public roads; 11, coordination between major electric infrastructure and the development generating electrical demand; 12, expansion of existing utility sites; 13, site plan and special land use review procedures; 14, standards distinguishing routine utility work from major infrastructure development; 15, coordination with the Michigan Public Service Commission and other governmental agencies having jurisdiction; and 16, such other matters as the Planning Commission and Township Board determine relevant to protecting the public health, safety, and welfare. The Planning Commission shall make recommendations to the Township Board concerning any appropriate amendments to the Township zoning ordinance, master plan, engineering standards, or other Township regulations. Section 7, limited administrative exception. Upon written documentation from an electric utility establishing that specific work otherwise subject to this moratorium is immediately necessary to remedy an existing condition presenting a substantial threat to public safety or the continuity of electrical service to existing township customers, the Township Board may authorize the minimum work reasonably necessary to address that condition. An exception under this section shall not authorize additional infrastructure principally intended to provide new capacity for proposed development of a new high-demand customer unless the township is legally required to permit such work. Section 8, duration. The resolution establishing the moratorium herein shall remain in effect for 180 days following its effective date unless terminated earlier by action of the Township Board. The Township Board may terminate the moratorium before its expiration upon determining the appropriate permanent regulations have been adopted or the moratorium is no longer necessary. Any extension of this moratorium shall require separate action of the Township Board supported by findings demonstrating the continued need for a temporary moratorium and shall be limited to the shortest period reasonably necessary to complete the Township's review and adoption process. Section 9, severability. In any section, subsection, sentence, clause, phase, definition, or portion of this resolution is determined by a court of competent jurisdiction to be invalid or unenforceable, that determination shall not affect the validity or enforceability of the remaining portions of this resolution. Section 10, conflicting provisions. For the limited duration of this moratorium, any provision of the Township Code or zoning ordinance that would otherwise require the township to approve a major electric utility facility inconsistent with this resolution shall be temporarily superseded to the maximum extent permitted by law. Nothing in this section shall supersede state or federal law. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Charter Township, Ypsilanti, Resolution 2026-21 is hereby adopted. There was already a motion, wasn't there? No, was there? No? Yeah? Yeah, they already made it, yeah.
All right. Mr. Winters, did you have any, the resolution is very in-depth and very helpful and very on point and something that we need. Would you like to do a summary of it?
I think what you showed this evening in regards to this 110 megawatt DTE substation pretty much says it all as to why we need to make sure that our land use and zoning is in alignment with these major utilities that are coming our way to support data centers. So again, I believe as Trustee Rowe read on pages 8 and 9 of the resolution, it's going to set forth the criteria It's going to ensure that we identify the appropriate zoning districts and locations for these facilities, setback requirements, screening, noise, vibration, on and on. And so I think it's something that's probably long overdue. None of us probably could have foreseen what's coming our way with these data center, hyperscale AI centers. And this, I think, will at least set before the board some parameters and guardrails as to how to make sure that these major electric utility facilities are going to be properly located to serve whatever comes our way in regards to these future data centers.
And this is the second. Behind us is a picture of 110 megawatt substation as well as the switch yard, which we didn't even know what these terms were until this data center issue comes up. We know there's one by the Willow Run plant, but this is going to, could be the location on the corner of Textile and Bridge. And just like every other utility infrastructure with our water and sewer, our electric infrastructure, we need to know how much of this supply they're going to use, because it determines how our community can grow or not grow. It can use all of your electric, all of your water, and all of your sewer if you just have two of these. It goes hand in hand, and Mr. Winters, this was your idea to do this, and it was a great idea, and people don't think about these things, and we never thought about them until these data centers came forward. So thank you for bringing this forward. It is a very prudent way to help plan our community, and as you see, DTE just goes up everywhere, and you really don't know, for gas as well as electric. They pull a permit from the Washoe County Road Commission, and even though they send an email, you can really get confused on where all the lines are and where they're from. They have different names. And I hope that a process will require us to be, and our community be more informed on what they're doing with this infrastructure. ITC is the high tension wires. And the high tension wires has to go to the yard in order to distribute the electricity to the substation, which then goes to the customers. So it's a very elaborate system. As you can tell by Saline Township, the reason they went there, one of the reasons is because of all the electrical high tension wires. So residents are aware of it, of course we are now, and to do this and to pause and to get a plan in place to make sure we plan our community the way our residents have asked for it, the way the master plan calls for it, which, by the way, we are doing an amendment to the master plan. It's a 5-year look back and see what we want to change. So one of our residents, Courtney, spoke about it, about addressing the data centers and how we need to get tighter regulations on that as well. So thank you, Mr. Winters, for bringing this forward. And
we just said that there is no application filed as of this day by DTE for that location, but just looking at that photograph, I don't think there's any amount of fencing or buffering or screening that you could come up with that would mitigate against what you're looking at on that screen. And, well, I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Irwin did, yeah.
So this picture is really important, I think, to think about, because the U of M is so crystal clear that they've been communicating to us abundantly, which is not true. The first time, I think the first of 3 meetings that I was in with them, maybe there were 4, I'm not sure, was when they came to tell us a little bit about what was going on, and they announced that the 20 acres that they purchased was now going to be the switch yard. So that was probably we sat down with them. They said, yeah, we talked to DTE, DTE's original plans, but we should buy this other piece of property. We're going to put this, at this time, we have no picture of what that means in our heads, but this is what they thought would be appropriate to come and communicate to us. Yeah, we just changed our mind. We're going to put the switch yard, I don't know what they call it, a switch yard. We're going to put the substation there on the 20 acres.
Is that in the North Hydro Park?
And this is right at the corner. So the gas station and we said, there's a major investment that was done by this business right across the street. You're sitting there pumping your gas, you're going to be looking out on this. And we were like stunned, shocked that they would just kind of throw it out there. So we asked, to your point, actually we didn't ask. Senator Erm was like, well, maybe you could do some berming, or you could do something. Hey, there's a couple other switch yards, other places where you could go take a look. And we're like to your point, how are you going to cover that up? I mean, it's just crazy that they would think you just come and just nonchalantly say, yeah, we changed our mind. This is what we're going to do. And then you look at it and you see it. There was no picture. Like, they didn't show us what it would look like. We had to hunt all this down. But that just speaks to the lack of respect. And so when we get frustrated that they're saying all of this communication they've had with us, that's how they communicate with us. So we had a Thanksgiving Zoom call, get used to it, and first little meeting that said, yeah, we changed our mind, we're going to put this substation, and a couple texts. It's appalling to think that they would treat us in a way that doesn't warrant real communication with us about stuff. Like that's unacceptable. Agreed. Unacceptable.
Supervisor Stumble, can I just ask one quick question? Which Debbie just stated. So you're telling me all of that is going across from Roundhouse? No barrier around it, no wall?
We don't know. We have not seen any plans.
You don't know that yet?
But what they said is the original 20 acres that were 2 office buildings with 200 people on site working at $200,000 a year is now this.
That's going to be that. But you don't know if they're going to build anything around it as of yet?
No, because they don't have to file.
We won't know until they
don't have to file plans with the DTE, because this is part of ITC and DTE too. So we don't know.
Okay.
Trustee
That's good enough
Peterson.
for me. Thank you.
Just keep in mind too that it is what I was saying earlier. This substation is equal, or is going to produce the equivalent of what the township as a whole is currently using in terms of electricity. Just this one substation for these 2 data centers is equal to the rest of the township combined. It's hard to really wrap your brain around that for me when you say that, because that substation can power 80,000 homes. I think we have like maybe 15, 16,000 single-family homes right now.
Correct.
We got apartments, obviously, and light industry, but I think that could somehow power almost 4 times or 3.5 times what we currently have in terms of single-family homes. And it's just staggering at the amount of electricity, the amount of heat that's going to be generated. I didn't mention earlier, but the amount of heat that's going to be generated from this facility, if it ever comes to fruition, it would take over 5,000 plus air conditioning units to basically take the heat and move it out. That's how mammoth that project is. So they deliberately undersold their vision as to what this was all about. DTE is equally responsible, in my mind, if not worse in some ways, of trying to push these projects forward, because they truly do see this as being a gold rush opportunity, and so does Consumers Energy. But they're doing it at the expense of the remaining development. The grid cannot support this, and it's like, hurry up. And it's just, it's just a disgrace that the state of Michigan has basically given a quitclaim deed to these data centers and energy companies to pretty much do as they see fit.
And it's also across the street, 165 feet. We measured it, I don't know if it's correct, from actual people live. in the apartment complex across the street. There is no way they would ever do this in Ann Arbor or any other community to locate it that close. It's wrong. But this will give us time to look at our planning and our ordinances in order to address the electrical improvements and additions by DTE and ITC.
Keep in mind, we're supposed to be addressing in this ordinance the appropriate zoning districts as well as the setbacks from residential uses, parks and everything else. So I'll leave this task to some of the planners, but it's pretty comprehensive as to what the it's supposed to look like when it comes back in terms of making sure that these major utility electric facilities are going to be in alignment with those 20 or so criteria there. And so I look forward to, especially with the wetlands. There's wetlands on that property over there too.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things in play here in regards to this type of moratorium.
And how does it affect the bald eagle? I mean, how does it affect the birds and the habitat? This is a heavy industrial use. That's what it is.
I would just encourage the board, one last comment, I guess. I know it's been a long day, but this is going to be more of a marathon than a sprint, and it's going to be very much a long game here. And I know that we'd like to have a quick answer, quick resolution, but I'd rather see it actually get it right as opposed to trying to do something quick. And again, this is another step, like we did with the Yucca moratorium on the water and sewer. It's going to require a lot more time, a lot more energy, a lot more of our resources, but this is it's the future of the township, in my opinion. It does hang in the balance in regards to what happens here.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm not expecting an answer, but it made me think about, you know how you have to own the property before you can like file to rezone, so maybe they need to own the property before you even file a permit to have a substation built, because they should DTE or whoever, I'm not saying it's going to be built, but if it is, it should be on DTE's property, not U of M. That's the whole point.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and support. Is everyone in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 16 is budget amendment number 12. Clerk Swanson.
Move to increase the fire fund budget by $101,355.93 to $7,485,662 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the bike, sidewalk, rec, roads, general, BSR 2 fund budget by $36,056.17 to $3,274,860 and improve the department line item changes as outlined. So moved.
Motion Swanson.
Support.
Support Eldridge. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Authorization and bids. A motion to award Clubview Park Pavilion Replacement Project bid to KAB Enterprises in the amount of $102,856.17, which is budgeted.
So move.
Motion Rowe.
Support.
Support Thornton. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 is to seek sealed bids for one new 2026 Polaris Ranger XP 1000 North Star Edition Premium to support the fire department operations and emergency response needs, which is budgeted in line item 206-901-979-000, with the bids coming back to the board.
So moved.
Support.
Motion Eldridge, support Rowe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. What we added under other business, thank you, board members, is to add a light at Textile Road near the park, because people were crossing there and it's very dark, and they have asked for a crossing light to go there, so it'll be a street light, and then with markings, and I'm not sure if it'll have a flashing beacon yet or not. But for $4,134.88 in the amount, and line item 101-446-982-2000. We're asking for a motion to approve the installation of this one streetlight.
So moved.
Motion Rowe, support Peterson. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Also under other business, just to update the board, the new accounting director will begin Monday, August 24th. So it's good news, and keep working hard, and thanks for everyone. I really want to thank our community engagement team and the township staff, Lori, Julianne, Elizabeth, and Mila. I mean, they have been just great public servants to the people through the data center issues as well as other issues, and I really appreciate very much how you serve the residents of our community and treat them with so much respect and helpfulness. So I just want to just say thank you for that. A motion to adjourn is in order. Motion Peterson.
Support.
Support Eldridge. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting, all opposed? Meeting adjourned at 9:03. Thank you.